They sailed into storms that would terrify modern sailors. They fought battles outnumbered and outarmed, and won. They explored North America. 500 years before Columbus, they traded from the Arctic to Constantinople. They built an empire from frozen nothing. The Vikings were not the biggest warriors in the ancient world. They were not the most numerous. They were not the most technologically advanced. But they were the most feared. And the reason they were feared had everything to do with how they trained, how they thought, and the philosophy they lived by. Today we unlock the Viking warrior training secrets and show you exactly how to build the fearless body and mind of a Norse warrior. Welcome back to Stoic Athlete, where ancient wisdom meets modern fitness. The Vikings were active from roughly 793 AD to 1066 AD. For nearly 300 years, they dominated European warfare, exploration, and trade through a combination of physical excellence, mental toughness, and a warrior philosophy unlike anything the world had seen before. At the heart of that philosophy was a concept called the warrior's path, a lifelong commitment to physical development, mental courage, and fearless action. Today we break down 5 Viking warrior training principles that will completely transform your approach to physical training and mental strength. The Vikings had a concept that gave them an extraordinary psychological advantage over every enemy they faced. They called it Valhalla. Warriors who died in battle were believed to be chosen by the Valkyries, warrior maidens of Odin, and carried to Valhalla, the Hall of the Slain, where they would feast and fight alongside the greatest warriors in history until the final battle at the end of the world. Now, regardless of your spiritual beliefs, the psychological effect of this philosophy was extraordinary. A Viking warrior who genuinely did not fear death fought with a freedom and ferocity that terrified enemies who desperately wanted to survive. They were not reckless, they were fearless. There is a profound difference. Reckless means charging without strategy. Fearless means executing your strategy without the paralysis of fear. For the modern Stoic athlete, the Viking philosophy of fearlessness applies directly to your training. How many times has fear stopped you from attempting a new personal best? Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of injury, fear of looking weak. The Viking warrior approach to fear is simple and absolute. Name it, face it, walk directly toward it. The heavy squat rack you have been avoiding, walk toward it. The running distance you have never attempted, attempt it. The training goal that seems impossible, set it anyway. Fear in training is a compass. It points directly at the thing you most need to do. The Viking warrior followed that compass without hesitation. So should you. Viking warriors did not train in gyms. They did not follow periodized programs. They did not count macros. They built extraordinary physical strength through the demands of their daily life, and then pushed those demands deliberately to build more. Rowing a longship required enormous upper body endurance. Viking oarsmen could row continuously for up to 18 hours. Their backs, shoulders, and arms developed functional strength that no isolated exercise could replicate. Loading and unloading cargo, building longships, carrying weapons and armor across rough terrain. Every element of Viking daily life was a training stimulus. And then, in dedicated training, they practiced wrestling, called glima, which developed full body strength, balance, coordination, and mental toughness simultaneously. They practiced axe throwing, spear work, and sword fighting, all of which demanded explosive power, precision, and sustained physical effort. For the modern Stoic athlete, the Viking training principle is about functional strength over aesthetic training. Stop training muscles in isolation. Start training movements that build real-world capability. Deadlifts over leg curls, pull-ups over lat pull-downs, carries over cable rows, compound movements that build the kind of strength a Viking warrior would recognize. Strength that translates directly to physical capability in the real world. Train like your strength will be tested outside the gym, because the Vikings knew it always would be. The most feared Viking warriors were called Berserkers. They were elite warriors who entered a state of extreme battle fury, fighting with a ferocity and intensity that seemed almost supernatural to those who witnessed it. Ancient accounts describe them as immune to pain, impossible to stop, fighting with a power far beyond their normal physical capacity. Modern neuroscience has a name for what the Berserkers accessed. It is called a flow state, a condition of peak psychological performance where self-consciousness disappears, fear dissolves, and physical and mental capacity reaches its absolute maximum. The Berserkers access this state through ritual preparation, specific breathing patterns, mental focus rituals, the deliberate creation of conditions that allowed maximum performance. For the modern Stoic athlete, the Berserker principle is about accessing your own flow state in training. Here is how you do it. First, create a pre-training ritual. The same sequence of actions before every serious session. This signals to your nervous system that maximum performance is required. It could be specific music, specific breathing, specific warm-up movements. Whatever it is, make it consistent. Second, eliminate self-consciousness completely. The Berserker did not care how he looked in battle. He cared only about performance. In the gym, release all concern about others watching. Train for performance, not appearance. Third, push past the first wall of discomfort. The flow state exists on the other side of the first wave of wanting to stop. When everything in you says quit, that is the moment to push harder. That is the Berserker threshold. Cross it. The Vikings lived and trained in some of the harshest cold environments on Earth. Scandinavia in winter is brutal. Temperatures far below freezing. Storms that last for weeks. conditions that would kill an unprepared person within hours. And yet the Vikings thrived. They trained outdoors in winter. They swam in frozen fjords. They sailed through Arctic storms. They treated extreme cold not as an obstacle, but as a training tool. Modern science has confirmed what the Vikings knew intuitively. Cold exposure produces extraordinary physical and mental benefits. Cold water immersion increases norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter associated with focus, energy, and mood, by up to 300%. It activates brown adipose tissue, which increases metabolic rate. It reduces inflammation and accelerates recovery. And perhaps, most importantly, for the Stoic athlete, it builds the mental toughness of voluntary discomfort. Every cold shower is a Viking training session. When you step into cold water and your body screams to get out, and you stay anyway, you are doing exactly what Viking warriors did every single day of their lives. You are proving to your nervous system that discomfort is manageable, that you are stronger than your instinct for comfort, that you have the same iron will that sailed long ships through Arctic storms. Start with 30 seconds of cold water at the end of your shower. Build to 2 minutes. Then 3. Then full cold showers. The Vikings did not become the most feared warriors in the ancient world despite the cold. They became fearless because of it. The Vikings lived by a code called the Nine Noble Virtues, a set of values drawn from Norse mythology and the Eddas, ancient Norse texts that encoded the warrior philosophy of an entire civilization. The 9 virtues were courage, truth, honor, fidelity, discipline, hospitality, industriousness, self-reliance, and perseverance. For the Stoic athlete, 5 of these virtues translate directly to training. Courage. Attempt what scares you. Every training session should contain one moment where you face something that intimidates you and do it anyway. Discipline. Show up without motivation. The Viking warrior did not wait to feel inspired before raiding. He prepared. He trained. He showed up. So must you. Industriousness. Work harder than necessary. The Vikings did not do the minimum. They built entire longships by hand. They rowed across oceans. They always did more than was required. In training, always do one more rep than you planned. Self-reliance. Take complete ownership of your training. No excuses. No blame. No waiting for perfect conditions. The Viking warrior prepared himself. Nobody prepared him. Perseverance. Continue beyond the point where others stop. The Vikings crossed the Atlantic Ocean in open wooden boats. They persevered through conditions that should have been impossible. In training, when everything says stop, remember the longship. Keep rowing. The Vikings feared nothing. Not storms, not enemies, not death itself. And they built that fearlessness, not through luck or genetics, but through a philosophy of deliberate physical development, mental toughness, and unwavering commitment to their warrior values. Here are your 5 Viking warrior training principles. 1. Face your fear compass. Whatever frightens you most in training, walk directly toward it. Fear is a compass. Follow it. 2. Train for functional strength. Compound movements. Real-world capability. Strength that translates outside the gym. 3. Access your Berserker State. Pre-training ritual. Zero self-consciousness. Push past the first wall of discomfort into your flow state. 4. Embrace cold training, cold showers, cold exposure. Build the iron will of a warrior who trained in frozen fjords. 5. Live the Norse code: courage, discipline, industriousness, self-reliance, perseverance. These are not gym principles, they are life principles. The Vikings sailed into the unknown in wooden boats with axes and absolute fearlessness. You have a gym, a program, and everything you need. The only question is, will you train like a Viking? This is Stoic Athlete. Train your body. Master your mind. Fear nothing. Subscribe for a new video every week. The ancient warriors are waiting.